Hello everyone. Today I'm just going to show you once again David's polymoog here. This is before I restore it. And you'll have to excuse the thunderstorm. We're having some pretty rough weather out there today. As you can hear, this thing sounds pretty nasty too. I'll turn it down there until we get ready to show it off here. But anyways, this is his polymoog before I restore it. I'm just going to show you a few things here. For anybody out there that has polymoogs with some symptoms, I can show you some things that may save you a lot of time. And I know a lot of times it's to do with the logic on these polymoogs. And unfortunately, his logic is actually bad. He has some problems with his logic chips. His latching doesn't seem to be working right. He might even have some shorted CD407 switcher ICs, along with some of the latching ICs. But something I was going to show you here, this is something I've never really explained, and thought I'd take a minute to show you. In these switches, a lot of times you can get false readings, and you'll think it's actually a problem with the latching or actually a problem with the switching. In his case, it actually is the switching, so I can't really demonstrate this too well. But what tends to happen on these, and I see this quite often, is you got these little switches, which actually you can remove. As you can see, just pop in place. They have a spring under them, like that. And basically it just kind of goes together. The spring on top. And that little switch just kind of sets on top and compresses in onto the latches of this plastic housing. Well, what tends to happen is I see this a lot. These contacts here will settle. And basically they'll weaken here at this point. And let's say maybe I can use my pliers to show you better. What happens is this little contact will actually hit there. And it'll stay connected whether you have the switch down or not. It'll always be making contact. Of course, in this case, you can see I just switched it, and by pushing on that contact, but you'll see his now it's locked up. So it actually is not touching, and I can actually prove that by taking these pliers and just simply lifting up on that little metal piece, as you can see, and it's still not making connection. And it's actually clear right now. You can see it does not switch at all. His other symptom is with this one here, when you select here, if you try to do that, you can see that's also a issue with his ICs. But this is what you commonly see when you actually have a stuck contact. As you'll see, it'll always have a high here. And so even if you make this a high, it actually defaults back to what it was originally high at. So that's another common issue I see. Of course, you can see it switches here, so that lets me know for a fact it's not the contact, because if it was actually a contact, and even when I switched here, it would jump back. So that's another actual digital circuit issue there, or switching. But also on that, you can see all this still works. Some LEDs are out, as you can see. That's a common thing. But anyways, just thought I'd take a minute and show you that. That's something that you might want to investigate if you have a polymoog before you tear into it and think it's the actual chips on the digital board, or the logic board, should I say. That's something I would check, is make sure your contacts are not making contact. And it could be any of these. All these come off the same way. They all have the same kind of contact. So you can just actually take a little screwdriver and lift up on them and try it that way. But anyways, I just thought I'd take a quick minute here and show you that. But as you can hear, his polymoog actually still works. It just sounds really bad. Here's the cool thing, and this is actually what I love to do, and what we'll do actually. Let me go to the let's go to resonator section. And let's go to low. You can hear all that's on his low octave, so something's wrong with his low octave. Of course, you can hear some things droning there, which is probably polycards. But as you can hear, this is something I love about the polymoog, and even a broken one, it sounds really cool. There is no loss of voices. Of course, if you course, if we do this, and hold that button in, you see it'll jump back. So yeah, it still actually works somewhat. His envelope generator doesn't work for his filter. His modulation doesn't work for his filter. Sample and hold works. So it's probably A9, or there's actually a Q2 that's associated with your mount. And then I suspect probably, I forget, I think it's Q3. I have seen that one short out for the actual attack, or the control generator. And when it shorts, it basically is connected to the chip, and it doesn't ever reset. It just basically sticks. It's just like holding in a note. So he's got that issue. The other issue is his actual mode circuit doesn't seem to be working correctly, as you can hear. Now it is. So that's not an issue there. I thought it was, but it's just dirty sliders. His sliders are really wrecked. But also yesterday I spent the day cleaning up a new interface. This was actually the one on the last video, but you can see I've removed everything off of it, and I actually took it outside and washed it and cleaned it up. And that's going to be the replacement interface for his really bad looking one. But you can see here just how nice and clean I got everything on this one. And yes, I did remove that nasty greasy foam, which I hate. Moog put this foam inside these instruments, and at the time I guess they didn't think it would turn into grease after 30 years, but this stuff turns into like this nasty greasy mess. And just to show you, I've actually still got the slider contacts, and I mean the slider boards, which I haven't cleaned up. And this is what it looks like. This is the nasty foam. You can see these are the actual metal plates that holds the sliders in place, and you can see just how nasty that foam is. The same thing in the MG1. If any of you have ever had experience working on the MG1, you can see it's just this nasty, greasy mess, and it just turns into this really nasty stuff. And if it gets on your clothes or anything, you might as well just throw them away, because you cannot get the stuff off. In fact, I'm going to use a bag here. I mean, you can see even how it smears on bags. You know, it's just like this nasty, nasty stuff. In fact, I really shouldn't have done that, I guess. But I wanted to show you just how nasty that was. So I can wipe my hands off here real quick. But this is actually my little work table. I don't know if anybody's ever seen this on any of my pictures or not. But this is actually where most of my synths come back to life here. That's Minimoog parts there. Just got a whole bunch of stuff. Of course, you know, got my PAL 2 I got when I was 3 years old. So he helps me out. But you know, I just got little doodads here and there on this table. It's a mess right now. Of course, all kind of polymoog parts and new electronic components and all kinds of stuff in boxes down there. And it's all anti-static work area, so I don't have to worry about static discharge. But anyways, I just thought I'd take a quick minute here before I tore this guy down, just to kind of show you exactly what I was looking at beforehand. And so we'll gradually go through this thing, and I'll have plenty of updates as I go along. And I'll walk you through every step I can. Take care, and we'll be in touch.